All right.
Perfect.
Welcome, Sherry.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, hi everybody. My name is Sherry, and Sebastian actually introduced me. And I'm working as Azure Developer Technical Lead at Microsoft. I'm based in Copenhagen, Denmark, and I'm super excited to be here. And as Sebastian said, that this is my first NativeScript talk. So bear with me. So I hope it's going to be working. And a little bit about myself, apart from my daily job, I have a really big passion for community and have a very big tendency to make myself involved in a lot of community projects. So I listed a few of them here. That it's good that actually Alexander, my co-organizer, is here because he's also involved in a lot of them. So one of them is that together with Alexander and a couple of other friends, we are running Angular Copenhagen meetup. And I wonder to know that any of you ever heard of NG Vikings conference? Cool, awesome. NG Spain? Okay, fewer. Yeah, I see Natalia there, yes. So I'm one of the co-organizers of these two conferences, and the beauty of both of them is that they all are non-profit. And result of collaboration among a lot of different meetup organizers, even across countries. So NG Vikings is going to be this year in May for the 3rd time in Copenhagen. And NG Spain is going to be for the very first time happening in October in Madrid. So if you like Angular and Solecito, you can come in Madrid. Otherwise, you can join us as a Viking in Copenhagen. And the last one is that I really wanted to put it here because it's a really nice project called Hack Your Future. It's started here in Amsterdam. You might have heard of that. It's a nonprofit association that helps refugees to enter the job market as developers. And we have a really intensive course, like a boot camp, that at the end of that, we're also going to help them to get their first job. I'm the vice chairwoman of the Copenhagen chapter. And in 2018, I'm proud to say that we could actually get 25 of our students to get a full-time job as a developer, which I think that is really cool. And thank you. So we are trying so hard to increase this number in 2019. And I really want you all to encourage to find out that if you have a chapter in your city, try to get involved because you can really change people's life. Okay, enough about me. Let's just start because we don't have enough time. So I want to actually start by having a very quick overview about all of these abbreviations that you see here that you might actually know them, but people have a tendency to mix them. So we are going to have a quick overview so we all are on the same page. Starting with artificial intelligence. So it's a simulation of human intelligence processed by machines. These processes include reasoning, remembering, learning, and self-correction. Which means that basically what we want to achieve is that we want to have machine to be able to actually act as a human by observing, making decisions, and learning from their mistake and correct themselves, just like us. It might be so natural for us, but not for machines, of course. So this is AI. And the next one is the machine learning. So what Arthur Samuel in 1959 said, machine learning is a field of computer science that gives computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed, which means that we just simply want to have machines to detect some pattern and recognize things without us hard-coding the cases there. So we don't want to have it always that if this happened, do that. If the other thing happened, do this. So this is a quick, definition of machine learning. So I talk about patterns. So what patterns are is that, for example, like me, if I'm looking at this picture, I'm going to say that I can see a dog sitting there looking at a cat. Without I know personally that dog, but because I saw it before, so I could remember it, by looking at this, that, oh, this is a dog. And even if I don't see the cat, so this is a cat, I can recognize it. So this is how we behave. So that's what actually we want machine to be able to do that as well. In order to do that, we can use some of these techniques. For example, artificial neural network, which is basically mimicking the way that our brain works for machine, and deep learning, which is that analyzing layers and layers of data, and each input from the previous layer is going to be, output from the previous layer is going to be to the input to the next level. And then we can combine it. We can use artificial neural network in some of those layers. So basically, we can combine all of these things in order to recognize a pattern. So the big picture is that we want to detect some patterns by using these techniques, and then we have AI in very top, which is a very general thing, and machine learning is one way to do it. So now that we have the whole full picture, let's find out what does it mean for us as a software engineer. So how are we going to use it? So as I said that before, we have some data. And for example, imagine that we have set of pictures of dogs. So, most of them are dogs. So what we want to do that we want to detect those patterns, which is the dog. So in order to do that, we are going through these techniques and combine them together many times, going back, forward, in order to find the patterns. And the output of this process is going to be called model. So in model, we already recognize the patterns. So this whole process is called training. Most probably you might have heard before that I'm training my model. So it means that I'm running all the time through all of these algorithms in order to recognize my data. And then at the end, we have an application that you can talk to this model and send a picture. For example, one picture, it can recognize a dog. Next picture is send a penguin, but we didn't train it to be a penguin, so it cannot actually recognize anything. So it sounds so simple, isn't it? There are challenges. Of course, nothing is easy. And one of them is that it's so difficult to find a set of diverse data that it can also cover all of those edge cases. For example, imagine in order to make a machine to recognize a dog, you need to be able to have a picture of all possible dogs with a different race, including the one that looks like a cat as well. So it's not so easy. And the other thing is that in order to create and find out that which of these techniques you need to actually use to find the patterns is also not so easy. It's so challenging. And the most difficult part is that to judge the outcome of that, test the outcome of it, is not easy at all. You might have seen this one before. Is it a Chihuahua or is it a dog? So it is so difficult to find out that which of these algorithms I should use and then how I can justify that, what is it? So this is challenging. The last one is also that we all know that if we want to have an open API, we have our model, we want it to be open for everyone. So it's also that it's not so easy to have security in mind as well, and including with the performance as well. So that's also tiny bit challenging. So Sherry, you keep saying that it's not easy, but it is easy. So is there a better way, or better to say that it's an easier way for us to do it? Ta-da! That's the Azure Cognitive Services come in place. So what it does for you, now I missed my clicker. So what it does for you is that it replaces the whole part that I told you, including having the data, training the model, and all of this for you. And then also comes with the REST API that we don't need to take care of it, but it's already there, or the security is there, and it also makes sure that it's performance as well. So then we have it there. But one thing is that I said that it comes with a pre-trained data. But in the reality, most of the time, actually, you need to have your own data at the end. So if the pre-trained data is not enough for you, you can have your own set of data and then take the advantage of Azure Cognitive Services in order to train it as well. So it comes with everything. So you can say that Azure Cognitive Services is a machine learning as a service. And it sits in Azure, so then it's going to take care of it that your server is always available, and it also makes sure that you have the security and you can easily scale as you need it, because sometimes those training, it requires a lot of resources. So you can scale it up in this way easily. Okay, so these are the categories of the cognitive services that we have there, that you can use it. We are going to have a quick overview of that. And then we have another one, which is Cognitive Services Labs. It's with a lot of experimental services there. And most of them, they are really cool. I really encourage you to go and look at them. So some of them I'm going to talk, there are a lot of services. I'm not going to talk about all of them. The one that I find them really fun and cool, I'm going to talk about them. So one of them is the computer vision. So what it is that if you look at this picture, so it can return you a JSON that says that, there are 4 men standing there and all of them, they come with a probability between 0 and 1, and then 1 is that I'm pretty sure, 0 is that I really don't know. So it can come with a 4 men standing there. The sky is blue, and it also probably at the top of a mountain. So exactly like the way that we as a human observing something. So it returns you JSON like that. And the other one, video indexer, is the one that is transcribing the video with the text that it comes, and it also detects each object which is there. Like actually the previous demo that you saw, that it has a kind of a square around each object, and it detected. And then the Face API. Face API is actually one of my favorite ones, that you send the picture there, then it analyzes your picture, your face and motion. So it can detect that if you're wearing a glass, or for example, detect your age and maybe even the gender of the people in the picture. So it can bring you a lot of detail about the face that you send it. And then content moderator is make sure that is not inappropriate. And the custom vision, this is one of my very favorite one as well. Then you can train and say that, hey, you said that 4 men standing there, but these are not men, they are stormtroopers. You can exactly tell them that to detect the option. Or you can find out that they are unicorns. So you can train it because it gives you back a face ID, and with sending that, you can train it and make it understand that this is the way that I want you to detect. And we have speech as well, and one of them, the speaker recognition. You can train it to say that it actually knows that who the person is. So if I say that, open my calendar, so it already knows that I'm Sherry, so it opened my own calendar. So because I trained it before with my voice. And then the language one. There are these 2 that I find them really interesting. One of them, the language understanding, is called Lewis. So you can actually teach it that what the command means. When I said that open my calendar, so I can teach it that, so you should go there and open a calendar for me. So you can use it for bots for sure. And the other one, text analytics, this is really cool. Imagine that you have a shop with a lot of products, and there are some really a lot of those feedbacks there. So that text, you can send it here, so it can also tell you the sentiment, that is negative feedback or positive feedback. And it can read and analyze it and come up with suggested topics that is discussed there, and even a suggested title for the whole thing. So it's going to help you a lot to analyze a big bunch of data. And Q&A maker is the one that you can send a sentence or a text, and it returns a lot of questions with a possible answer and there. So it's also pretty good for when you have a bot as well. And then, of course, there are a lot of things you can do with the different type of customized search and all of those things. We really don't want to go through them. And then also, as I said, that we have those experimental ones. OK, how to use it? So yeah, first of all, you need to create your service in Azure portal. And then once you create your service, if you want to have your own custom data, you need to actually to use them and then train your model there. Otherwise, you just call the REST API, it returns you a JSON, you just parse it in the way that you want to. Okay, so let's do it. So first of all, I'm not going to show you that how to create it, because it's just, you just go there, you just create your service, and in order to do that, you don't need to you can just have a guest account, which you can create as many times as you want without having your credit card involved or anything. If you suddenly got so excited, then you can have your credit card there, and then you will have a longer period of that. If you're super, super excited, then you can buy the service. So, but it's just a simple visa to go through it. And what I did it in order to the demo that I'm going to show, that I use the face API that I talked about it before. Okay, once you created your service, you are going to have a page like this. Then you have your endpoint, and then you will get your tokens as well. And then if you want to make sure that it's going to work, then you can just use it with Postman. You just try to see that if it works or not. You have to. I put the link to the API document that it shows you all the things that just like any other API, there are different parameters that you can use. And then you get a kind of a JSON response like this. And the way that I created my code, let me show you. Of course, I used the playground. I found it really cool and easy. So this is a very simple one. Of course, I cannot use my touchpad. Okay. So I created a really simple app with one button, which is a take a picture. And when you take the picture, I'm sending it to the Cognitive Services, and I respond the picture. I get the response, and then I created a chart, because the way that I do it, I analyze actually the faces. And there is a project that a couple of my colleagues, they created it. It's called the Emojifier, which you send the data, the sentiment of the face, then it finds the best possible emoji that describe your emotion. And then you can just use those one instead of that. So that's how I did. So, and here I use the, I have when you click the button, so there is something called Run Face Detect, that I have it better in my here. Let me just go back here. So this is very simple. So I use the camera plugin in order to take the picture. And once I took the picture, I created a file, because Cognitive Services need you to send an actual image there. So after this is the way that I'm sending the image there. So I use the content type, it's a post, and then I use the content type octet stream, and I put my subscription date key there, and of course you should not try it at home like this, because you should never put your token here. This is not a good practice, but this is a very kind of a quick demo, so it's okay. So, and then I upload the picture. After I upload the picture, you can handle the error. Of course, your code never have an error, and of course, the Cognitive Service is always responding. So then otherwise, you would just resolve your data. And then, after that, I used this emotion data that, as I told you, that is going through those, it's going to parse all of those emotions, and then based on that, it's going to show you the emotion, the emoji. So I can show you here. I don't think we have time to go through the whole thing, because, but I have the link here. You can just go later on and then find out how to do it. And this is the whole thing. That you can just, based on the kind of response that you get, is going to guess that it's happy, it's like a poo, it's sad, and it's look smart, and all of those things. It's really fun. And you can use this, I mean, I use it here with, in this application, but you can use it even, we have a workshop that you create it on a Slack, and then it's use the Azure function, and it change and replace your face with the whole emoji, and then turn it back. It's really cool. I really encourage you to actually go and see that. So that's what I did. And I guess the best thing is that in order to demo it, I guess the best way for me is that to actually use it here, to make sure that, to get the feedback from you all to see that if you all are happy with my talk or not. So let's try it. So who is happy with my talk? So 1, 2, 3. So, okay, it found 25 faces here. And if I go to the emotion, this is the result. So, okay. I'm not sure if, I guess my demo was a bit scary, but it's okay. It happened. It was my first try in NativeScript, so I did my best. So okay, so maybe it was because of this guy, you're scared of that, not me. But yes. So what I wanted to also tell you that, yeah, I did all of this fun there, but there are also a lot of really serious stuff that you can do with cognitive services. There is this website that we have, it's the AI.lab. It actually shows you some of this really cool project that recently people they made it with the cognitive services. One of the famous one is about that after the JFK files become open source. So you could actually go there and then find out that, search it in a really nice way and then dig the data and see that what it is there. And there is also another one that I liked it that, I guess it was the Pics to Story, that you can actually create some mock-up sketches and then take a picture it actually turns it to the HTML for you. This is a really cool project that they are there. So if you want to conclude everything, so I hope that even though that you all showed that you were scary, you were scared of, you were not scared, so I was scared. So you're scared of the demo and everything, but it's so easy. Cognitive services are really easy to use, and they are really easy to do the provision. And then it comes with the provided data, but of course you can have your own data as well. And the other thing is that we have a lot of free resources to learn it. If you go to Pluralsight, there are a lot of resources that you can just use it, and you don't need to have a subscription to Pluralsight. They are open. You can test it. And if you go on MS Learn, there is a lot of code labs that you can actually go through it and then use it. And the documentation that we have is also pretty good. I tested it because I also didn't know it, so I had to go through all this documentation to learn it as well. And remember that you can have your account created without providing any any data, just an email address. You can create 10 email address and try it as a guest. And yeah, that's it. I wanted to thank Sebastian to help me to create this one. And this is a project that I made it in Angular. So it's going to be the next generation of this app that I'm going to, okay? So you can replace the face with emoji, as I said, and I also trained Sebastian to be recognized as a unicorn. So thank you very much for being the unicorn. And I want to thank you all for listening to me. And then if you want to have my slide, they are already there in that aks.ms/NativeScript day-Amsterdam. So it's always it's there. And then I have a lot of resources here that you can see it later. So thank you very much for listening to me.